Hey everyone, it's Julie from Sprouts and Stems here. So today's Tuesday, yesterday was a Labor Day. I was running some Labor Day errands, shopping the sales a little bit. So I got two plants. African violet. It is really, really sad looking. I know that's kind of why I got it, because I wanted to see if I could rehab it. And sorry if that crinkling of the plastic tray is really loud. Alocasia black velvet, also kind of sad looking, so it's so pretty. I had to rescue it. So aside from watering, I really haven't done anything to these plants, and there's some dead foliage and flowers that need to be cleaned up. There's actually a bloom on this guy. I don't know if that's gonna focus. That really doesn't need to be there. It kind of just sucks away energy from the rest of the plant. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a little plant maintenance and show you what I do when I buy new plants. I decided to bottom water them both. I'm laughing because I just filmed myself saying bottom watering like 5 times and I messed it up each and every single time. I bottom water them both, and African violets like to be bottom watered because they're pretty susceptible to like fungal spots and rot and whatnot if they get water on the leaves and stems, and yeah. And then I just decided to bottom water this one because why not? Literally, this sucked up the water within like 30 seconds. I basically just poured the water in up to here, and granted, like, it's like only an inch, not even of water, but still, I like blinked and the water was gone. That's how dry this was. I'm going to start here with the alocasia. So what I'll do first is just pull off some of the lingering dead foliage, probably just from leaves that have already fallen off. So pull off the dead foliage at the base of the plant. Now what I'm doing is just using a toothpick to break up some of the compacted soil since these plants were so dry. And I never use anything larger than a toothpick to do this, even for larger plants. I don't want to risk breaking the roots, and I just find that a toothpick does what I need it to do. So I used to use like chopsticks, but now I just use toothpicks to break up compacted soil on any of my plants. And now it's time to snip off that bloom. I just use a pair of clean scissors and I just snip off the bloom at the base. And there is the spadix inside the spathe. And you can kind of see the flower cluster at the bottom or the base of the spadix. This alocasia has some corms popping up out of the soil, which I was very excited about when I saw that at Home Depot. So I'm not going to snip them off today. I want to give this plant a little time to adjust to its new home, but probably within the next week or two, I'll snip them off and I'll do a video on propagating alocasias. And finally, I'm going to wipe down the leaves with a damp cloth and also just wipe the pot that it's in because the pot was a little bit dirty too. And that's it. And now we can get started with the African violet. So I'm just starting by lifting up the leaves and making sure I get all of the dead foliage out. There is a lot of dead foliage hiding within the leaves and stems of this plant. And while I'm here looking around under the leaves, I did want to mention that when I was at the store, I checked underneath the leaves and in the crevices of stems on both plants for any pests. That's generally something you want to try to do before you take the plant home, but it's always good to give it a second look once you get your plant home. I'm also pinching off the dead flowers. There were a couple really nice looking flowers, and there were some that looked like maybe they might still be alive. I honestly wasn't sure. They hadn't bloomed yet, so I wasn't sure if they had just died or if they were waiting to bloom. So I left those on, but I did pull a bunch of dead flowers off. There were also a couple of rotted leaves that literally pulled right out of the plant with like the lightest amount of force. So the leaves were all wilty, the stems were mushy and gross, so those definitely needed to go. The soil for this African violet wasn't compacted like the Alocasia was, so I'm not using the toothpick for that. What I'm doing here is just using the toothpick to very carefully kind of pull out any little bits of soil and perlite that are just sitting amongst the stems and leaves. The African violet is a sensitive plant. I just want to make sure the crown of the plant is nice and neat and clean. I'm now using a dry cloth this time, not a wet cloth because their leaves don't like to stay wet, but a dry cloth to just gently brush away any dust or dirt particles sitting on the leaves. And that's it for the African violet. It already looks so much better, and I hope both of these plants will be happier now and be able to thrive to their fullest potential in my home. One last thing I wanted to mention is that sometimes I use bonide systemic insect control if I suspect there might be any stowaway pests that made it into the plant that's now in my home. I'm not going to do this yet because I really think these plants are fine. I did see some fungus gnats at Home Depot, which is pretty normal in big box stores. But honestly, I already have fungus gnats on my other plants anyway. It's kind of hard to avoid in the summer. So I'll wait like a week or so and see if there's any issues, and then maybe I'll water in some of this bonide systemic insect control. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for hanging out with me. Please remember to like this video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any new content. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a great day.